Oh, this is going to be a big one, folks. This is going to be an amazing game. And I know a lot of people are looking at the quarterback. I'm sort of like Leonidas in that movie 300. I'm holding everyone back. I'm going, look, we need to see it again. We need to see the aerial attack in Air Force One form. And then once that happens, we'll open the floodgates, 300 if you're familiar. This is Carolina! And we will run and attack and be unbearable on the internet. Panthers talk will get serious playoff talk if this game is victorious on Monday night. I want to talk about Dave Canales' role in this because I think this is a huge game for him. I still think the biggest game this season was the one against Green Bay. I think that was just tactical. That was just chef's kiss by Dave Canales. He was skating circles around Matt LaFleur, just looking pretty doing it. And a coaching display by the Panthers head coach and outing doing better than LaFleur, who is another one of these tight pants, former OC, play caller, smarter than you, Hollywood housewife head coach. Canales beat him, and it was masterful. You know the difference between that game and this one? That was at 1 o'clock on a windy day at Lambeau, a game that no one took seriously, a game that ESPN, Pat McAfee, called boring. This one, primetime, under the lights. He's ready to go. The happiest I've seen Canales since they've drafted T-Mac. He looks pretty excited. And he's not saying it directly, but you can tell he's jumping out of his seat. It's a huge opportunity for him. You know why? Because in 2010, when he was a 20-something, working for the Seahawks as an offensive assistant, a little intern, Dave Canales. Dave Canales was showing up to work after a Thursday night out in Seattle. It was one of those days in his working career where, it was work hard but play harder at that point, 20-something Dave Canales, as it was for all of us. All of us. But he experienced something awesome in Seattle at that point, which was the Beast-Quake run. That was a 7-9 Seahawks team. A year prior, a bad draft, similar to the Panthers of late. A team that really just no one took seriously for an extended period of time. Yes, you had Matt Hasselbeck. There were a couple decent years in there. Not really a contender, not a team that you look at and go, wow, that's a good, serious football team. Then Pete Carroll comes in. You go 7-9. You don't have enough talent on the roster. But there's something about the team. It's physical. You have Marshawn Lynch. I think that year they drafted Bobby Wagner. They had a couple linebackers. Physical team. It was the start. It was the catalyst to the Legion of Boom, the catalyst to the roaring Seahawks of the 2010s. And I think Canales is big into moments. And I know he gives you the coach speak. I know he tells you that no moment is bigger than the next one, and we're staying focused. And yes, the lights are on. We don't care. It's just another game. Bryce Young goes, we're 0-0. It's all that. And they downplay it? No, this is a big game for him. This is a big game for Dave Canales. This is his individual Beast-Quake moment. Marshawn Lynch running over the New Orleans Saints. 7-9 Seahawks team winning in the playoffs. Upset. Beast-Quake. Like every single Saints defender, including Darren Sharper, just laying that guy out, and he still makes it into the end zone and does the whole, inappropriate touchdown dance that everyone came to know and love with Marshawn Lynch. Here's Dave Canales on the weight of the game, what it means for him. Here's the coach.
Championship mindset, and what a great opportunity for us to play an excellent opponent, a team that I really respect from a players and coaching standpoint on Monday Night Football. There'll be a bunch of cameras out there, a lot more action that way. You get to be the show of the week, and that's something that prepares us to handle these types of situations, with class and with the right intentionality and focus. And that's why we try to preach every game is a championship opportunity so that you don't all of a sudden have to get up for Monday Night Football. but it'll be special. It'll be great. I encourage our guys to take in the moments, take in the opportunities, look around, hear the sounds, feel it, feel all of it, and still get back to our execution and be able to have a great focused week. So there's a lot of excitement, but at the same time, we have to treat this as another game, playoff implications, all those things right in front of us, with the Niners continuing to battle to find ways to win.
And for me, you know who Dave Canales is? Dave Canales is the new girl on the block. Orange County, Hollywood, that's where they're going. It's San Francisco, but everything in California is kind of the same. It's just how hippie are the people. But he's sitting round table and there's all the housewives and they're all talking about the expensive things and the cars, and they just adopted a $15,000 Shih Tzu, whatever it is. And he's sort of just like Lindsay Lohan and Mean Girls, just sitting there, sitting back. What are these people talking about? Her nails cost $1,500, and that's who he's facing, Kyle Shanahan. He's like the ultimate version of this. The good-looking, playbook out, play-calling, offensive guru. Canales isn't the household name. He's not the girl everyone's going after. No one even knows who he is across the league, honestly. Especially with coaches. Everyone knows the quarterback. Everyone knows the players. With betting and fantasy and all that, everyone knows the individual players. In fact, there's so many people out there that don't even care about the team. They don't even care about the coach. It's just they care about the fantasy. Like, I talk to some people, they're like, help me set my lineup. I'm like, get the heck out of here. Let's talk about the tackles and in between the tackles and the gridiron. I don't want to set your dang lineup, but let me see your phone. This is big for this guy and his brand, and I don't know what's going to happen in 10 years with Dave Canales. I have no idea, but he's a Pete Carroll guy, looks up to Pete. This is a resume builder for him. Pete Carroll in New England was about 500, really good for a first-time head coach, had to go back to the college ranks, came back, and then he got the Seattle job. With Canales, it's a similar type of thing. He's in his first gig. It's not going to be his last gig. Unless he's Belichick or one of these, long-tenured guys. Even Belichick had to go through the ringer a couple times before he got a long-term role in the NFL. It's big for Canales' brand. You know why? Because no one's talking about the Panthers. No one's watching this team. They will be on Monday night. Casual people working on a building in New York are watching the Panthers Monday night. Your insufferable friends across the country that root for the Cowboys are watching the Panthers on Monday night. Everyone will be watching this team. I guarantee you that person you never hear from will text your phone, oh my gosh, look at them. And you hope it's good. Canales gets that. Canales understands that this is a short-term league where people have short-term memories. The quarterback has one good game here, and then everyone's throwing Canales under the bus as if he didn't unleash the quarterback's magical powers. He gets it. He gets that the bookend matters more than the book. He gets it. He understands that the weight of this game is big and that people are going to remember this. And down the road, that 49ers team, no one knows that they're injured. No one knows that they're banged up. We'll talk about that in a moment. They have a ton of injuries, a huge opportunity for Young in the offense. No one knows that this team's having a bad year. They just know the brand. It's like, wow, Kroger really beat Walmart? Holy heck. That's huge. This local mom and pop burger shop just displaced the McDonald's? Oh my gosh. And that is what Canales has the opportunity to do. And he's not a household name. He is a self-made coach. I say that's important because in that league, there's so many coaches like Shanahan who come from a football family. Belichick, football family. There's a bunch of them. I'm struggling to come up with more off the top of my head, but that is a nepotistic league. Nepotistic league. Your name goes very far in the NFL. Former players will get jobs, snap the fingers. Canales had to work in high schools. Canales had to go into nasty locker rooms with 17-year-olds in high schools. That's where this guy got started. He didn't get some strength and conditioning job at LSU and had a coaching career that just kicked off like some of these former players. He had to start at the bottom. This is big for him, big for his brand. Now let's talk about this. The quarterback. The quarterback. The Tone got in some trouble earlier this week. Tone got in some trouble. They called the Tone the C word. The C word. They said he was clickbaiting. That's like a formidable insult in 2025. You clickbaiter. You clickbaited us. Well, I was just telling you that I want to wait and see it. Like Leonidas in 300, I need to make sure that no one's going to catch a stray arrow before we all run and attack the Roman Empire. I need to make sure that no one's going to get catfished into the mirage. That no one is going to take the cheese. We need to see it at least one more time. And believe me, if they win this game and the quarterback has a decent performance, I will be sold on this team. I think they can win in unique ways. They've proven that over the course of the season. I have faith in Young to get hot. If they can go out and pull out this win, like Leonidas, release the Wolves. Unleash the floodgate. And you know what it starts with? It starts with the quarterback, with the DTA. The DTA. Decision-making, timing, accuracy. That's the reason Bryce Young is here. It's the DTA. Thomas Brown said it. Frank Reich said it. It's DTA. Decision-making, timing, accuracy. Doesn't need to make a wow you throw. Doesn't need to be Josh Allen. Doesn't need to do any of that. Can he catch this defense off guard? Can Bryce Young, who's already talking about pattern recognition, recognize something Robert Saleh's defense is giving him and turn water into wine? And turn water into wine on the football field in wine country. I think San Francisco's wine country. That might be a little more south. Can the quarterback get the DTA right? I don't need a quarterback who's DTF. Cleveland tried that. It didn't work. We don't need the quarterback to be DTF. We need the quarterback to be DTA. The playbook needs to be the playbook. We don't need the quarterback on Tinder. We cannot be confusing the two. DTA, not DTF. The Tone's trying to make an appeal to the 18 to 24 demographic. That's what's going on. I don't have as many 18 to 24-year-old listeners. I'm trying to get more. So I'm going to use acronyms. I'm going to use things that you don't understand. I'm going to start selling Prime Energy. Instead of being Jake Paul, I'm going to be Paul Jake. Here is Bryce Young on his matchup against the 49ers.
Kind of a game that you throw for 440 yards and 3 touchdowns. What do you feel like that does for you guys moving forward when other defenses are, trying to prepare for you guys, and they're going to have to really honor a lot of that passing game?
Yeah, it's, again, I guess you'd have to ask the defenses. Again, for us, super grateful for all that. It's great. We know what we're capable of, but again, that doesn't entitle us to anything. We're going to start whatever the first play is. It's going to be 0-0, and we're going to have to try to earn the right to go out there and win. We don't, there's no carryover. It doesn't matter. So we always trust each other. We always believe in each other. Know what we're capable of, but we have to earn the right throughout the week. We have to earn the right on Monday to go out there and execute. So not big into thinking, what the cause of effect, anything that happened in the past. Now we're
classic Bryce Young answer. Downplay the accolades, downplay the awards. That social media team for the Panthers is interesting. They published that video that Cam Newton had on his show, and I think it's went viral a little bit, where he's dabbing after the game in the locker room, and they turn the music all the way down so you can't hear the song. But I guess it's like the Migos, look at me dab, look at me dab, look at me dab. That one that came out in the 2010s. So he's just like dancing to the song, but then everyone's like, oh, like he broke the record. Now he's paying homage to Cam Newton and doing his dance as if that is some sort of like holy grail that they pass on. It's like now that he has been given the dab, he has been blessed with the dab, it is somehow the power to carry him through the rest of the season. But he makes nothing of any of it. Like it's just, okay, we're going to the next game. 0-0. It's the same spiel he gives you every every Wednesday this week. It was Thursday because of the pushover with the Monday night game. I think there is carryover. Bryce Young says there's not. I think there is. I think this is a guy that's playing with confidence now. It's impossible not to extrapolate some confidence from that performance. Offensive player of the week. You're dabbing in the locker room. Cam Newton is celebrating the performance. You have all these national talking heads talking about Bryce Young's performance. I think it's impossible for him not to extrapolate some confidence from that. And I was critical, like it was against the Falcons. I said, it's sort of like wedding day. It's sort of like a wedding day. That is 50% better than I'm going to look for the rest of my life. My wedding. I'm going to look great that day. Manicured is going to be a beautiful product. That's how Bryce Young is against the Atlanta Falcons. Is that sustainable? Is that sustainable? He's literally, I think I did the statistics, it's like 50%, close to it, statistically better against that team on average. I don't know if he's thinking of that. I don't think so. And I have no problem with his confidence builder coming from that game. If that is what's going to do it for him, that is great. That's great for me. That's just good timing. That's good timing. And I think playoff teams continually rely on that. They rely on certain players, whether it's a pitcher in baseball, maybe a shooter in basketball. A guy gets hot. And basketball happens all the time. All of a sudden, Al Horford in his 40s is like dropping 35 a game for the Celtics. All of a sudden, some player who did nothing all season shows up for you. In football, it's more, all of a sudden, Claudin Cherilus is making a huge play on Drake London to help get the ball back for your offense. All of a sudden, Evero, who is dealing with some injuries on that side of the ball, is able to work some magic. And for Young, it's similar. Can this guy get hot? Can this guy get hot? I think that's the question everyone's asking about. I'm not going to bore you with repeating that storyline, but I do think Robert Saleh is going to come out here and give him some looks. Saleh did say, or not Saleh specifically, but it's being widely reported that they're going to disguise Young, use defenses, try to trick Young on that side of the ball. And he's been dealing with this all season largely. But that is something I think Saleh takes pride in. He looks at Young, who just took advantage of the Falcons, confused Jesse Bates, was relatively unconfused by the Falcons defense. And all this relates to the DTA. It's all the decision-making, timing, accuracy. That's really a lot of it. I grouped the pre-snap operation into that. Just the IQ, the cerebral elements of the game. Is Young going to go out and do that against the San Francisco defense that, honestly, this is not a good defense. And I mentioned it earlier, the name brand. The Niners are a household name brand, reputable team. This is a good football team, a winning organization. They have built that. It is impressive. I think the NFC West in general, aside from the Cardinals, which is a little bit of a joke in Arizona, but everything's a joke in Arizona. Do people work in Arizona? I think they just go on Instagram. I'm serious. Maybe certain parts of the state are a little bit different, but that Scottsdale, Phoenix area, oh my gosh, it's a mess. It's really fun. It's really nice. They have really nice things, but it's like, what? I don't know if they take football and the business operation seriously. I question that. The 49ers do. The 49ers have taken the football operation seriously. They have defenses, they have injuries all over that defense. Bosa got knocked out, torn ACL in September. They just lost Michael Williams for the season. I think he's an ACL too. It's like, don't play edge for the Niners because you're going to get a serious injury. They're banged up at linebacker. And a lot of people are going, well, they don't have Fred Warner. I forgot the backup that they've been playing. He's out. So they're relying on Nick Martin, who's a rookie, Curtis Robinson, who's a practice squad on and off since 2021. They probably have less than 100 career tackles. This is not an experienced group of guys. In fact, they do have less than, I think, 50 career tackles. The pass rush can't get going, so much so that Dave Canales has to name Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff is their main threat. So this guy who was a rotational player for the Eagles last year, went to the Niners. He's their guy. They're last in the league with 12 sacks. Bottom 5 in passing yards allowed, 249.1. They give up an opponent passer rating of 104.5. 104.5, the tone. And they're middle of the pack against the run. And that's the point I was trying to make. This linebacking core, they're good, but they're sort of like the Tasmanian devil. They just go out there and run around, and they're typical linebackers. Aggressive, sort of brutes, lumberjacks. But you can trick them. You can trick them. And they've particularly been bad. They have been really bad against the pass. Against the pass, and I think this is Bryce Young's game. Take advantage. Maybe not over the top, but underneath. If you can confuse some of these linebackers, I go back to that Falcons throw to T-Mac in the middle of the field where he has not one-on-one coverage, rather, I think it's zone. Terrell's playing deep on T-Mac, and Young looks off Jesse Bates. Terrell's too deep, and he hits T-Mac on that little skinny post, and T-Mac goes 39 yards. Can you get more plays like that? Can he take advantage, particularly of the linebackers? But their secondary, it's good. It's holding up the ship. Like, their pass rush isn't winning them games with the pass defense. The Falcons are the opposite. The Falcons have a really good pass rush, and that has been able to make up for holes in their secondary with the depth behind A.J. Terrell. This Niners team, the secondary has some pieces. They're not bad. It's not laughable by any means. It's a decent secondary. They have no pass rush. So Young's going to have time. He's going to be able to throw it all over the yard. Regardless of where it is, it's going to be the DTA. We need the DTA. I want to talk about this before talking about Steve Wilks and Christian McCaffrey. Do you think that was going to come? You stay this late into the segment, you're going to get a surprise. You're going to get a huge surprise on this show. Xavier Legette's getting a lot of attention. Joe Person wrote an article. I don't have the headline in front of me, but it's all along the lines of Legette's bound to go off. Was Sunday his coming out party? And I think the underrated narrative in this is the opportunities that T-Mac is opening up for some of these other guys. And you've had it all season, generally. You've had Legette have a bunch of one-on-one opportunities. They had it against Miami. They had it against Green Bay. They've been given that look before, but this is something they're going to continue to see. Canales said it, I think it was Monday. T-Mac is the focal point of this offense now. And now they're getting creative, moving McMillan out of his customary single-side X alignment at times, and that allows Canales to unlock more, for Young to unlock more in the passing game. They're going to move T-Mac around. He's going to continue to be the focal point. Legette, how does he step up? Because I think he's the beneficiary of that. This guy, wide receiver that was compared to Jonathan Mingo coming into the season. A guy who has struggled. Well, he has a better opportunity, arguably, than any other wide receiver in the league. I think Keon Coleman has a pretty good opportunity, but I guess he's showing up late and getting benched by the Bills. Legette isn't experiencing the Jonathan Mingo fiasco. They're not relying on this guy. It's almost as if he's in the perfect spot to succeed. These defenses are taking care putting too much attention on McMillan. The coach really likes Legette. Again, Canales drafted Legette. This was his guy. So much so that Canales had to literally cover it up. I mean, it literally was like a cover-up. It was unbelievable. Legette tells the media, Canales came to me and he goes, yeah, we're drafting you at 33. It was 33 at the time. They traded up to 32. We're going to draft you, Legette. We're going to get you. And then Canales caught wind of that after the draft. He's like, no, I told him nothing. I tell everyone that. I ask everyone out. I do that to everyone. Let's talk to Steve Wilks. This was the 5th best Panthers coach in history. I'm not kidding. Now Canales is, in my estimation. I don't know. I think Steve Wilks, 500, a guy that you probably should have kept around, but instead you brought in Frank Reich to help with the underlying plan when you traded this guy, which was to get picks to trade for Christian McCaffrey, who's no longer a Panther. He's in San Francisco. Here is Steve Wilks reacting back in 2022. The Panthers trading CMC.
Very unfortunate, and it's part of the business that we live in. We know this is what we signed up for. Christian is a great person, outstanding individual. We know what he brings from a football perspective, but he's just a good human being. And had the opportunity to speak with him last night, wished him well, and I know he's going to do a great job out there.
That might have been the worst day of Steve Wilks' life. Honestly, the season ended up going really well for him. He finished at 500, and they actually were in contention and might have made the playoffs if Tom Brady didn't go off. I think it was the last game of the season. The Bucs went off. But at that moment in time where you're Steve Wilks and you're trading your best offensive player in a landslide, your best offensive player, you have this rejuvenated offensive line that you actually have faith in moving forward. You're coming off a draft where you took Ekwonu. You made some free agent signings, a bunch of guys. Well, Bradley Bozeman's no longer here, but you have Corbett, I guess, who stayed. And then you go and trade the focal point of your offense, CMC. And Wilks largely was upset. David Newton actually published an article today, and he published a couple sources that talked to him. One source says, on the McCaffrey trade, it was never like an epiphany, like, what a great idea, let's trade McCaffrey. Another said, it was never, the team has to get rid of McCaffrey. It was more prompted by teams that were calling, and the prospects of having multiple picks for him was enticing. So that's his sources. I just told you Wilks, I think he clearly was against it. I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but it was something along the lines of like, we're just going to get rid of our best player? Like, of course I'm upset. Of course I'm upset we're getting rid of McCaffrey. McCaffrey goes to San Francisco and immediately was an impact player. And I think some people defend the Panthers here because they go, well, McCaffrey only played 10 games in, 2021 or 2020 and 2021. He wasn't healthy because they were just completely overusing him. And for that reason, you get rid of him because now you're paying this guy and he can't stay on the field. I think long term, it was the wrong choice, 100%. 100%. You're going to tell me that you would rather have traded McCaffrey knowing revisionist history, knowing that you're going to have to pay Miles Sanders $25 million in free agency the next offseason. The offseason you trade, or the offseason after you trade McCaffrey, you come back with Miles Sanders. So it's almost like when you have a new refrigerator and you're at Best Buy or wherever you purchase your refrigerator, and you could take the cheap one or you could take the good one. And it really is that simple sometimes with electronics. You could cheap out. And you know it's going to be broken. You know in a couple years someone's going to be coming to your house to take it out. You know it's going to be a pain in the ass. You get it. That's what they did with McCaffrey. You have the known commodity. You know he's good. 4 years, $64 million. It's premium dollar. You just paid him 2 years before. It's premium dollar. But you sit there and you go, oh, well, Shanahan next door, he just got one of those touchscreen fridges. Yeah, I guess it's like uses all this Bluetooth technology and it's like super energy efficient and really cheap, like actually the cheapest one. And then you go and stick your toe in the water. Next thing you know, you trade this guy and get Miles Sanders. And then a couple seasons later, you go and you re-sign or extend Chuba Hubbard. And you pay those guys a combined $25 plus $35 on the fly. $60 million. So between paying Hubbard, paying Sanders, second round pick to draft Jonathan Brooks, you just bought 3 refrigerators. You could have had the one that worked. You could have had the one here the whole time. And some people go, well, Tone, you don't get the injuries. This guy was injured while he was here. They were 1-5. They were trying to rebuild and get picks to draft Bryce Young. The injuries, sure, I get it. I normally would tell you not to pay a running back. I think paying the running back is dumb. Unless it's McCaffrey or Kamara, I think generally, if a running back isn't a legit pass catcher, you don't pay him. I think the shelf life is too short. I think the investment usually is poor. And I think you can get production from guys like Deontay Foreman, from guys like Rico Dowdle, that get ostracized or outcasted by these other teams, and then you just find them and give them a waiver. I think it's easy to get production at that position, unless you have McCaffrey or Kamara who can do the other things really well. And this was a team that ended up using this mantra, and it's still the mantra. So through Fitterer, through Morgan, through Reich, through Matt Rule, through Dave Canales, the mantra is still run the ball, stop the run. Maybe not that exactly, but instead it's the running back is important. We need to draft Trevor Etienne in the 4th round because we really need a 3rd string running back. We really need to be attentive to that. We can't be the Bills who just, signed Ty Johnson. We can't be them. We can't be the team that just gets a guy. We need good running backs. We need the Gucci bag. We need the Louis Vuitton. We need the name brand. So if that's what you're going to do and that's consistent, why wouldn't you just pay to have the one that works? The one that's really good? The one that currently Christian McCaffrey is leading the NFL in yards from scrimmage with just under 1,500 and has 11 touchdowns, including 3 in Sunday's rout over the Cardinals. That's my take on it. A guy that you should have kept, a guy that you're going to see Sunday. And obviously there's a lot of McCaffrey talk going around. I think by and large, the performance of the Panthers front office, the performance by Dan Morgan specifically, not Fitterer, but Morgan, has been good. I do think the CMC thing, in hindsight, you should have kept him here. You're going to end up paying guys and spending picks. Some people go, well, they drafted Bryce Young because of it. I don't know. I think you could have had Young. Yes, you got that 2nd round pick that I think you ultimately shipped to Chicago, but you could have had Young. If you really wanted to trade up to 1st overall, you could have done it and had McCaffrey. I don't know. It's not the reason. That trade is not the reason, or it's not any justification for this season. In other words, if you had McCaffrey or you didn't have McCaffrey, I think the result's still similar this year. But it would have been nice to keep around. This is The Tone. Run CMC. Run DMC. This is The Tone. We have so much more coming for you on Monday, and then it's going to be Monday night. It's the last one before Leonidas releases the troops. This is Carolina!